Nigeria is number one in Africa in terms of gas resources, and we are in the top 10 in the world. As of January 1st, 2021, our reserve volume is 206.53 trillion cubic feet of gas. And well, there's an addition of over 3 TCF, that is 3 trillion cubic feet from 2020 till now.
And you look right or you look left, i.e. west or east, Nigeria is almost equidistant, whether you are going to Asia or whether you are going to Americas. So that puts us in a very good position. That's number one. Number two, we have been blessed with abundance of these resources. Still there, onshore, shallow water, even in the deep water, even in the land areas. Having had this very extensive oil life, about 60-something years, it also means that we have some very, very good repository of experienced oil and gas people somehow in the system. So you are well located, you have the resources under the ground, you have people, okay? It's not as if you are going to be bringing people from Ghana or anywhere to help you to do it. You have the people. So it's just to make it happen.
Clearly, we have the resource. It's there. The other thing is that we have the market, right? It's one of the most populous countries in the world. We've got about close to 200 million people. There's a huge market for products, all sorts of products, name it. There's virtually no product in the world that you make that does not have a contribution of gas in it, either in its manufacture or as a feedstock in its manufacture, or just in power generation. So when you look at that, and beyond that, Nigeria itself is a natural gateway into Africa, with a huge population of about 1 billion people collectively. We're a coastal country, so we can access African markets. So when you bring all this together, the fact that there's a huge reserve base and the fact that there's a huge connected market that can be served, you can begin to see the potential gas can have for the country in terms of amplifying its GDP and improving the lots of its people.
In terms of capacity, Nigeria's domestic natural gas consumption in 2019 was about 15 billion cubic meters, and it is expected to rise to about 20 billion cubic meters by 2030. Nigeria's net exports of natural gas are 33 billion cubic meters, and they are expected to increase to 44 billion cubic meters by the year 2030. Liquefied natural gas, LNG, accounts for the majority of exports, and this is expected to rise from 32 billion cubic meters in 2019 to 41 billion cubic meters by 2030. Pipeline gas exports were 0.8 billion cubic meters in 2019 and likely to rise considerably to 3.5 billion cubic meters by 2030. Gas as a fuel source has various end markets and products that can be deployed, some of which include gas as an energy source, gas as a feedstock, gas for the production of high-value fuels and chemicals such as methanol, ethanol, gasoline and diesel oxygenated fuel blends.
Now, talk about the direct derivatives of gas, fertilizer, and then its impact on agriculture. And agriculture accounts for 40% of our GDP. So you can imagine that chain. You see Dangote is now unleashing fertilizer into the market. That is gas. Fertilizer is gas into the plant, fertilizer out. That is how fertilizer is made. So fertilizer is a direct derivative of gas. Gas, fertilizer, agriculture. Then even the energy transition thing, and in terms of getting more and more green, the only solution we have in the near term is gas, displacing diesel generation and LPFO in heavy industries and so on and so forth.
There is also domestic liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, gas to liquids, small-scale liquefied natural gas, gas to power projects, electricity industry, auto gas for the automobile, gas for industrial manufacturing sector, gas to commercial and residential sectors, agricultural industry, etc.
Gas has a much larger impact on the economy in terms of multiplier effects and growing the GDP than oil. And therefore, government policies today should be targeted more at delivering gas into the domestic market. I have nothing against LNG, but LNG is just a revenue earner, just like crude oil is. It doesn't have the impact on the domestic economy that domestic gas consumption has. So everywhere else in the world, development is measured by your consumption of gas, not by your export of gas. So if we take today's domestic consumption from 1.1 BCF to 3 BCF, you will see the impact in terms of development of the economy.
We need to use gas for sustainable development because it has linkages to so many industries today. It has linkage to Ministry of Agriculture, it has linkage to Ministry of Industry, it has linkage to environment, it has linkage to so many things. And it will be what will be a turning point in the development of this country because we need the industrialization, we need import substitution, we need to retain the amount of dollars we use to bring in products.
So if we have all these vast resources, gas resources in our country, then we must focus on it. Focus on the development of the gas value chain because we believe that this is what is going to bring value to our people.
Apart from revenue to government from taxes and royalty on both the condensate and gas and LPG and so on, the 250 million scope of lean gas alone is 1 gigawatt, 1,000 megawatts of electricity. That's what it produces for you when you deliver it today, to put it in context. So that's how much impact it will have on the economy.
In spite of its potential, gas as a fuel source has not been adequately commercialized in Nigeria due to infrastructure challenges, inability to meet domestic gas demand, and gas flaring practices among other factors.
Gas flaring, as we know it today, is a tremendous waste to natural resources, and in this time of climate change pressure is something that is unacceptable globally and of course by the federal government of Nigeria. Gas that we flare today is one of the closest allied to renewables, and is very particular and important in the energy mix of this country, considering the fact that globally today we have around 1.1 or 1 billion people that do not have access to electricity, and that number coming down to Africa, over 600 million people do not have access to electricity, and yes, we flare this gas and waste it on a day-to-day basis.
In the context of Nigeria, the country flares an excess of 700 million scarf of gas per day from 178 flare sites, which translates to Nigeria losing approximately $10 billion in revenue annually due to its inability to capture and commercialize flared gas in the country.
We need to ensure that domestic gas supply and utilization so that we develop the market. When you create the need, you need to satisfy the need. Then 3, we need to create the gas infrastructure. We need pipeline. Already government has laid the 3 critical pipelines, the OB3, AKK and ELPS2, which will now spread the gas across the country. Then export. We need forex, foreign exchange, gas for export. So this will guarantee the forex, and we need to flare out. This flare out is to capture the players, commercialize them, so that it will be useful to Nigerians. So this is, in the short term, this is what we are looking at, and we have recorded significant gain in these levers that I explained.
It will create major industrialization for Nigeria. That is the potential for major industrialization, chemical-based projects, even beyond industrialization, because energy switching. You switch, so gas is cleaner, it is cheaper. You can switch out all these dirty fuels that we use in our transportation, that we use in our industries. It makes the economy actually more efficient. That's the promise of gas. But you have to know how to drive it as a country.
The world now knows how to use gas. The world now knows that actually It is gas you require for industrialization of the whole economy, if you really want to. And we have seen nations do it. We now also know that in the current wind of energy transition, gas is the cleanest of the fossil fuels. So the credentials for gas is just too much.
If fled gas is properly harnessed, Nigeria can produce 600,000 metric tons of LPG per year and generate 2.5 gigawatts of power from new and existing independent power plants to power the economy.
In Nigeria, we generate to homes 5,000 megawatts of power. It's not good enough. We have a seating capacity of about 13,500 megawatts. If we're able to unleash that, as of today, I will be in a position to sell about 2.2 BCF of gas. I'm only selling 800 billion standard cubic foot.
The potentials for gas in the Nigerian economy are 10 times the potentials that oil can unleash. And I will explain. For 60 years, we have been exporting oil and earning what I call rental revenue to drive our economy, which is why the oil industry that contributes some 90% of our foreign exchange earnings only contributes 10% to the GDP, minimal contribution. The difference between oil and gas in Nigeria is when gas is unleashed into the domestic market, the multiplier effects, we have a contribution almost 10 times what the oil contribution is to our economy. You think about 3 BCF of gas a day generating 20 gigawatts of electricity. That alone changes the very context of our economy. From small-scale industries that die today because of the cost of power, diesel and generators and all, so name it, from small scale to large industries that power everything they do with diesel generation.